this Holden 1 tonne that we've done some work to and go through some of the details on this vehicle. As you can see, it's a full body Holden 1 tonne, has a steel tray on the back, has no hoop at the front of the tray at the moment, but essentially it runs a full body. It's on standard HBD wheels, and it is the complete machine, tow bar and the works. This car is actually being set up to do a fair bit of motorsport, so it does everything from drag racing, drifting, and pretty much you name it is where the owner wants to use this vehicle. If we come under the bonnet, you can see we've actually run a Whipple supercharger. It's actually a custom system. It's running on a star manifold, and then all the drives and the rails and everything is a custom setup from here at Marksworkshop. As you can see, it runs a separate 8-rib drive to the front of the crankshaft, which has a spring-loaded tensioner and running onto a separate drive at the front there. It leaves all the engine belt alone to just drive the water pump and the alternator and aircon and all the bits and pieces, and has them as separate drive systems. This system is also running a rigid comp cams tensioner on that accessory belt to make sure that there's no whip or belt jump when you're actually working this thing pretty hard. Other features, it obviously runs a catch can on there. That's actually a built engine. It's a 402, which is essentially the LS2 block, a Kelly's 4-inch stroke crankshaft, scat rods, Ross pistons. They runs ETP cylinder heads. There's yellow terra roller rockers, and there's a whole list of bits and pieces inside the engine. On top of the engine, as I said, the Whipple supercharger. We've actually run some Vortec fuel rails, 62-pound injectors, and we're actually done this one is using the LS2 throttle body, as this is the late VZ, which meant it was electronic throttle body. These vehicles actually come out with the LS1 and a 4L60E transmission. I mentioned the transmission because we now have actually converted to a 4L80 transmission, 4L80E transmission, and that's part of being able to deal with the torque that this thing produces. Other notable features under here, at the rear of the engine bay is the reservoir for the water-air intercooling, and you notice we also run a large air cleaner system in the front corner. Probably the other noticeable piece is the battery's been relocated. There's actually, with the motorsport work and the amount of heavy G-forces this car suffers, getting the battery out of there so there's no issues with dealing with battery acids and things like that was an important feature, apart from also the balance of the vehicle. If we come right forward, let's see, we run here's the water air intercooler, or the front heat exchanger, front radiator. That's neatly hidden away amongst the radiators in the front of the car. This also runs a large transcooler, and that's pretty much the noticeable features under the bonnet. I'll go through and we'll put it up on the hoist in a bit and go through with the brakes and wheels and the suspension modifications. One other notable feature inside here would be the dash. Essentially there is a set of 4 gauges that we've managed to put in amongst all that. They are all the full Nexus gauges, which means that they are not only controlled by one controller, but they also are able to be set with different trims on them. And as you can see, there's different lights, different colour lights there, which means essentially there's a idiot gauge system there, which means that, you know, when you're working it hard, if they flash red, that means that your oil pressure is low, your fuel pressure is low, or whatever is happening there. Other feature, as I said, this is motorsport, this vehicle, so it does have a 4-spot harness fitted into the standard inside. Okay, we'll get it up in the air. We'll go through some of the features on this ship. We'll start with the suspension. This car is fitted with full Bilstein suspension all the way around. As you can see, that's a coilover front strut. Got the H&R spring. It's also run the keeper spring on this system. We'll come back out. We've got the 4-spot HSVs fitted all around this car. You can see the front ones there. This car's also got some Nolafame caster rods and bits and pieces like that have been strengthened up. The rear brakes, this is the 4-spot package I just mentioned. This car also runs Caltrax on the rear leaf spring, as to try and get control axle tramp and give the best traction we can get out of the thing. And if you look up inside there, there's also the full fuel system, twin 044 fuel pumps, and a threaded the swell pipe. It also has on the other side of the car the remote battery relocated from under the bonnet. Last detail under here, there's obviously a little bit of suspension work otherwise, but it's a full exhaust system. This runs a full twin 3-inch exhaust system. As you can see on this one, with the amount of room that's been left there, we've actually gone under the rear axle. Being the live rear axle on the 1 tonne. Anyway, from here, we'll come back out and we'll go through and do a full road test on the car so you can see what it actually goes like on the road. Okay, let's go through a full road test on this Holden 1 tonne. Okay, we'll turn around and we'll put her through a little bit of a paces. Scrape around out here, and then really. Okay, that's a bit of an idea of how it goes.